These guys did more damage to my truck in 30 minutes than I have done in 20,000 miles in 2 years of owning this thing. February of 2017, I tried for the first time to lift a truck by myself. And taking a long story short, I'm still alive and the truck here it's still in one piece. At the time of lifting this truck, I had a budget of nothing. So we went with the cheapest thing on the market, which was nearly a 4-inch spacer you bolt to the top of your strut and call it good, which was not good. So what we had to learn the hard way was the other suspension components that need to be upgraded when you go about lifting your truck. And we're taking those learnings into today to give you a viable option to lift your Silverado or Trail Boss and hopefully fit some big meaty 35-inch Nittos, which I don't know if they fit. Yeah, Common Core math, we'll see. So guys, aloha and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to my little piece of paradise I call the Lonestar Hawaiian garage. We got 2 out of our 3 beloved vehicles here in front of us. And we also have this thing in the driveway. Fun fact about the Mercedes, 300,000 miles and 2.5 years of being completely illegal in the state of Texas. It is legal. Big celebration tonight. And obviously what is missing in the garage is the 2020 Trail Boss. My wife will be home here shortly from her job. And I am genuinely excited for today, guys. It's long overdue. I've been looking at this lift kit in my office for weeks and weeks, and it's finally time to get it out here and installed on the Trail Boss. Now today's gonna be probably a multiple day video or project for me. What we're gonna do tonight, Friday night, is run a few errands, which you'll see here in a second, but get that truck detailed and cleaned up. In the morning, we'll get it up in the air, start pulling that suspension apart, and start installing our lift kit. I'm stoked. I'm honestly stoked. I do want to welcome anybody that's joining me for the first time. If you guys are enjoying this content, if you enjoy at any point in the video, please smash the like button below. Helps me out, helps the channel out, helps us continue to grow. If you want to join the family, subscribe below, be part of the channel. It's absolutely free. All it does when I post a new video, it gives you visibility that it's live. So scroll down, hit the subscribe button below, and join the family. Hey you. Hey, you remember in the last video where we went shopping for toolboxes for me? And my wife ended up finding a tabletop worktop that she liked much better. Well, guess what? That's what we're getting right now. We're gonna run to Home Depot, go surprise her with her brand new worktop tabletop that she loves so much.
But can we talk about my future desk over there for my classroom?
We're gonna build it and put it here in her spot where she parks her Trail Boss every day and surprise her and cross our fingers she doesn't run it over with her truck. We'll find out here shortly. Good deal. We got 2 of them that are missing pieces. How's it October and it's 96 degrees? Gotta love Texas. All right guys, she's about 5 minutes away with the truck, but I figured I'd show you guys something I'm working on. Look at this. We're actually starting a second YouTube channel, which I'll announce later on, which is not gonna be featuring me at all. It's all about someone else that might really like big monster trucks. This is gonna be their logo eventually, but yeah, that's in the works. Totally being a creeper right now.
This is so exciting! Look, honey!
Ow! Hi! Shoot! I was actually hoping you would not back up and hit it, so this is good news. You backed up into the driveway, not to the garage.
You said you're gonna watch the truck, so
Good point. I did say that.
I'm stoked. This is awesome.
If you want, I can do the livery like I did mine on this if you want. I'm assuming that's a yes. All right, we went from a full detail to a quick wash very quickly. And the most expensive cameraman in the world is back on the vlog. He's manning the camera at the moment. Say hello.
Hello.
My one and only employee of the month, every single month. When are you starting work? Thanks, babe. All right, guys, we are losing lights. We're gonna finish this up real quick. All right, the first thing we're gonna do is get the front end up in the air. Typically I lift the whole truck, but I think in this instance, I'm gonna do the whole front end first and then move to the back end. And just for safety reasons, keeping the back tires on the ground, I feel is a little bit safer. Because lately I've been having trouble keeping cars in the air and not falling on me. So we got our new jack stands here. I'll get the front end up in the air, get the wheels and tires off. Here we go. We have all the jack stands up. Everybody's favorite cameraman is back on the vlog.
Hello.
And we're gonna do the redneck shake. We're solid.
Chee-hoo.
Chee-hoo.
Chee-hoo!
Tires are off the truck and we had to go get a new socket because I didn't have one big enough to take this CV axle nut off. The online forums were saying 36 millimeter socket, so I went and got a 36. It actually might be 35 because that's, I don't know, quite a bit of play. You experts, let me know in the comments.
Holy shnikes, it worked.
Yeah. I hate dealerships, but I interrupt this broadcast for something much more important.
Bell bottom.
What are those?
My costume.
She's stoked for Halloween. How about this?
I look like a mermaid.
And I'm not sure like where to look. Like, do I look at you? Like, I'm not gonna ask. No, I'm not dressing up with that. I promise you. No, I'm not. Goodbye. Something I did not tell you guys, actually, when we bought this truck initially, the boot was torn. Brand new truck. It had like 50 miles on it and the boot was already torn. It had it warrantied out and they replaced the whole axle shaft. When they put it back on, you're only supposed to torque this to about 136 foot-pounds, I think it was. And that took fire, this massive breaker bar, to get that off. And just to test, I went on the other side, just like, there's no way it's this difficult. Ran to the other side, broke it right loose, no issue at all. We got the axle nut off, so that's pressed through, that's good. We're gonna knock off the upper control arm, start loosening these bolts up, get this strut out of here. Driver's side's coming along. All right, I figure I about show you what's going on this truck. What we have here from ReadyLift is the SST plus 2-inch lift for the AT4s and Trail Bosses. Because these trucks come lifted from the factory 2 inches, this additional 2 inches will put it at 4 inches grand total from a regular Silverado. Now this kit's pretty cool in a sense of it comes with your upper control arms, preload spacers, the spacers that go on top. It also has new rear blocks, U-bolts, and all the hardware here. Now what I'm curious about is, according to the measurements earlier, the rear of the truck was 2 inches higher than the front. So theoretically, if we lift the truck 2 additional inches, it'll be level. So I think we're gonna do the front first, let the suspension settle and see if we actually even need to touch the rear. Their upper control arms are massive, nice and meaty. Now a lot of you might be asking, why didn't we go bigger? And that is the plan eventually. But what I wanna do, especially because my channel is so DIY, own two hands, and really realistic in a sense of things that you could possibly do on your end. Given this kit is only a few $100s, this is something that the average human could go out and purchase and install on a weekend and go and ride around with, 35-inch tires on a lifted truck. That's the idea anyways. So I'm gonna stop talking and start playing with this front strut, figure out how I get this thing disassembled. Peace. what? I never introduced you guys to my brand new tool. This is a spring compressor tool from Eastwood. Really a different one that I've ever used before. I've never used the ones with like these C's, but I'll never go back. I got my own spring compressor tool now. But driver's side, done. Choo! Yes, we are complete on the driver's side. Upper control arms in, spacers are in, everything is torqued to spec, and I actually mean that this time because my wife just drives this every single day with my kids. That balloon over there, not so much. But yeah, that looks pretty sick. I'm stoked on those upper control arms. I didn't realize how kind of beefy they would look in here. Next step is passenger side, and I'm actually gonna walk you through kind of step by step what I've done at a high level because you do have instructions, but it does help visually to see someone doing it if you guys are tackling this for yourselves. First thing we're gonna do is break this loose, which we already did because I had to get my wife to hold the brake pedal. Fortunately, it was not seized on like the driver's side. We're gonna go ahead and proceed to the tie rod in, knock that loose. Let's get to it. So once you knock this outer tie rod in loose, we need to remove these brackets with these ABS lines. So you got a 10 mil on a bracket right here. There's one here behind the spindle, and then here on the upper control arm. Yeah, get a shirt. I get asked pretty often why my projects take so long to complete. All right, so once you get the brackets up out of the way, on the rear side of your lower control arm, you have your sway bar and this end link right here. You're gonna take this nut off and kind of knock this up and loose. And then we go to the CV axle shaft nut here, and then loosen this up all the way, and then press the axle shaft back just a little bit. ReadyLift says about 100 times how delicate this axle shaft is. From the boot being easy to split, and if that happens, your entire shaft is screwed. And apparently there's a bunch of little clips and stuff in here, so if you were to leave the axle shaft in and let this kind of fall down, you're gonna break a lot of stuff up in here, which you don't want. When we get to a point, I'm gonna get a microfiber cloth and just wrap this up completely so we're not splitting my boot open. All right, next up, we're at the upper control arm. We have the lower bolt on. That hurt?
Oh, hey, I'm Ricky Bobby,
And I'm Cal Naughton Jr.
and we're here to talk to you about plastic, the silent killer.
And we're back after a brief intermission. I'm almost certain, I told my son, if you keep blowing that balloon up and up, it's gonna explode in your face and you're not gonna be very happy. It's gonna pop and I'm gonna laugh. And that's exactly what happened. Regardless, we need to get the upper control arm loose. We have this nut here at the bottom. We'll loosen this up. If we need to take a hammer and tap this at the bottom to separate these two, we will. All right, nut for the upper ball joint, 18 mil. And next up, we gotta go up underneath the strut. There's 2 bolts on the bottom side of this shock, and it's gonna be 15. Now, one thing I do that's not really mentioned in the instructions is actually loosening up the top bolts on the top of the strut tower before I remove these bolts completely, because if you don't, there's like a spring-loaded tension here where when you get the bolts out, this kind of kicks forward and hits the boot. So you don't want that. So these are loosened up. That way, when I remove the bolts here, this kind of slides down nice and easy, which is where we are. And there is 3 bolts on here. The one on the back is nearly impossible to reach from the wheel well. So we went up through the hood, and there's a straight line directly to it. There we are. Oh, jeez. All right, upper control arm is out. All right, so we got the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Speed and Power.
Speed and power.
It's like a model to live by. So getting the strut out of here is kind of an art. You just have to be real delicate and relatively careful as you're kind of shifting things around. Essentially, you get all the top bolts out, you get the bottom bolts out, you get the lower control arm low enough where you can kind of shift it up and out and pull it out in this direction. All right, so the next fun part of this video is dealing with this and a spring compressor tool. We're gonna compress this enough where we can loosen the bolt to allow the shock to come out. We'll put a preload spacer here, and then a spacer will slide up on top, and then the strut goes right back in. So the ReadyLift kit will come with 2 different spacers. There's a preload spacer and then there's this top hat spacer which will sit on top of your front struts. So this one here actually slides on to the strut assembly before you're putting it back into that spring. You're gonna pop this white piece off, this black piece will remain. You're gonna slide this piece over the top to here. You put the white plastic piece back on, and then this goes right back into that time bomb. And overall, super happy with my investment in my new tool. Now, every time I need to replace springs or struts, I got everything I need in my own garage. Until next time. So now that we have our preload spacer installed on our strut, it's time to start reassembly. First off, we have our new upper control arms. We're gonna bolt in our new upper control arms. From there, we're gonna install the top spacer on top of our front strut and weave that through this assembly into its final location and just start those nuts there on top. And then comes the fun task of putting all this stuff back together without damaging my CV boot. And by the way, I totally love my garage, guys. Grand tour, playing in the background. So the next step is to charge the ball joint with grease. We've got a new grease gun over there, so we're gonna break that in. Last thing I need to do before I put it all back together is just torque this down. Yeah, so that one's 160 foot-pounds, the axle nut, but I need my wife to go in and step on the brake so I can actually do it without this turning. But it's about 12:30 in the morning, so that's gonna do it for tonight, guys. So I'm gonna charge this thing up with grease, and we'll see you back in the morning. You seriously cannot make this up. I was gonna run really quick, grab some donuts before the kids get up. We drove the Mercedes last night, parked it here in front of the garage, and it's not going anywhere because it's dead. I got a pretty interesting relationship with this car. This is a 2000 Mercedes C230, and this was my wife's car back when she was in high school. When she graduated college, her parents gifted her the car, and we still have it here today. Now, this car absolutely hates me because things break on it every single week, and I continue to fix it, but what's funny is as I fix things, something completely unrelated goes wrong. So I've come to terms with the fact that this is just my relationship with this car. It's gonna continue on. After 280,000 miles, it's still running strong, usually, but it's not right now because the battery's drained. Fortunately for me, I was actually gonna show you a really cool jump box in today's video, and we're gonna actually need it. So here it is, guys, the Fantic T8 Apex jump box, and by far the best looking jump box I have ever seen. Nice and low profile, it's gonna store away nice and easy. But what's nice about this is an hour and a half of charging gives you one full charge. That full charge is gonna last up to 2 years, which is really good for me because I like charging stuff, throwing it under the seat, forgetting about it until I actually need it. Now in emergency situations, 5 minutes will give you enough charge to jump a vehicle. On top of that, it has a bunch of other features built in. Number one being a nice little LED light there at the front. So when you're jumping a car at night, you have no battery, you have no light. So this is gonna be very convenient. It also has a 65-watt fast charge at the back. So you can actually charge your iPhone 6 times. On top of that, the Fantic has a max output of 2,000 amps. That means you can jump a vehicle up to 8.5 liters on gasoline engines. So we got a 6.2, a 5.3, another 5.3, and then a 2.3 liter we are jumping today. So this will have no problem at all. Also for the diesel guys out there, 6-liter diesels. This can handle it just fine. Now it's also nice for me, it is idiot proof. So it has reverse polarity protection. So if you're being silly and stupid like me, like I am all the time, you're not gonna break your own charger. So if you still carry around jumper cables in your vehicles in 2021, guys, throw away the Nokia brick. New things in town. Guys, this is a Mercedes. Germans do everything difficult. And the battery's in the trunk. All right, there's the culprit. Open that up. Again, idiot proof for me. Black to negative, red to positive. All right, wish me luck. Woo, come on, baby. Heck yeah. Now that one little jump, it's showing 99% now, 98%. That was so quick and easy. All right, we're gonna let that run for a little bit to charge back up, but lesson learned for me. When I turn the headlights off, don't turn it too off, because if I turn it too off, it turns back on and kills my battery. Guys, link in the description below if you want to get your own Fantic T8 Apex jump box. Highly recommend it. This is a really cool part to have in a worst case scenario situation, which with this thing, it happens a lot. Thank you. So we're all set to go, guys. Let's get our tires out from under the truck and back on here. I will give you guys a sneak peek at what's over here behind me, which is going on eventually, but it's not hitting today's video because we have to limp this thing down to a shop to get it actually aligned, because when we get this thing back on the ground, it's gonna be kind of pigeon-toed quite a bit. One of these days, guys, I will have my own shop, I will have my own tire machine, I will have my own balancer, and I will have my own alignment rack. I am so sick of waiting on shops to work on my vehicles, to do the little things I can't because I don't have the equipment. One day, just gotta work towards it. I've been here for 2 hours and they just finally pulled the Trail Boss. I thought it was funny because I asked the guy at the front if he pulled in the truck yet to get working on it. He said, yeah, it's pulled in. I'm like, no, it's in the parking lot. It's like, oh. And 30 minutes later, they finally pull it in. I'm like, well, hopefully it's quick, so all I gotta do is just the front end alignment. He's like, no, it's all four. I'm like, no, it's just the front. He's like, well, no, the rear's adjustable. I'm like, no, the rear's got a solid axle. Welcome to 2021 auto repair shops. That's why I work on my own stuff. You know, guys, I may not be a smart man, but I know when your alignment's done, I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to take these home. That's a wild guess, though. But what do I know? I make YouTube videos. Oh, good. It looks like you scratched my truck, too. This is ridiculous. I am getting so sick of this. This is why I work on my own stuff. I pre-scheduled an appointment with these guys. Like, I'm sure they did a number on my freaking rims, too. You gotta be kidding me. So the idiots decide to leave the sensor on there and go driving around the block. Scratches up my bumper, nice little ding there. My wheels are tattered to shiz. And I don't know if he can touch my door anymore than he did. This is so freaking frustrating. This is ridiculous, guys. Like, my steering wheel is completely covered in just grime. Like, I get it, the other carriage is covered in that nasty coating, but like, wipe your hands off before you grab my steering wheel. My steering wheel is coated in this crap. So you scratch the crap out of my wheels, you scratch my bumper, and you leave this nasty grime all over my steering wheel. But if I can take care of a truck for 2 full years and put 25,000 miles on it and still be as immaculate as it is, and they take it for 20 minutes and do all this damage, I think my anger is justifiable. This is ridiculous. Obviously, we didn't pay for that service, and we're not coming back to Firestone. Ever. I'm calling it a night, guys. All right, guys, results. The front fender, where we measured it earlier, 39 inches from the ground. It is now 40 3/4 from the ground. And then lastly, the rear fender, we haven't touched it, 41 inches. So technically, as it sits from the top of the fender line, we're pretty much dead even from the back to the front. The difference is that body line on that front fender, how it swoops up and down, it is higher than this body line here. So from perception, just a quick look, the front end actually looks a little bit higher than the back, but in reality, it isn't. It actually makes me really happy because I don't want to have to touch the rear end. It's gonna be even more sick when we get these gigantic things in place of those little things now. All right, guys. Wifey's truck is officially quite a bit taller than mine. That's unfortunate. There's nothing hotter than a pretty lady driving a big truck. And it's getting bigger. As I mentioned, the wheels and tires are going on. Not in this video, but our next upload, because I think I'm gonna have to do some significant trimming in order for these to clear with the offset of the wheels plus the 35-inch tires, 12.5 in width. It's gonna be a bit of work to get these on there. That's all coming for our next upload. And as promised, here is your sneak peek of the new wheel and tire setup, which has been sitting in this garage forever. Actually, before we show you what's over my shoulder, I wanna let you know we are actually starting a new YouTube channel. Now, a lot of you are similar to me in a sense that you have a few young kids. And if you are watching this truck-ish channel, it's likely that your kids like trucks too, primarily monster trucks. My kids are obsessed about it. Also, I'm so sick of this guy. I cannot stand him, and I do not want him ever on my TV ever again. So we're getting away from that guy. So Aloha Bros YouTube channel will launch the day this video launches with its first video. Link in description below. So if you have young kids, you're gonna love this channel. Now let's see how fast we can get them to 1,000 subscribers. So go visit that channel, subscribe to the Aloha Bros YouTube channel, and enjoy the awesome monster truck awesomeness. So without further ado, here is our wheel and tire setup. Nitto Ridge Grapplers 35 by 12.5. Now the wheels, which you have not seen yet, are the HD Pros HD1. I have not seen this setup on a new Silverado. I am so excited to see if my vision is actually as good as what I've been imagining. These are 20 inches by 11. So this is 1 inch wider on the wheel than these on the OG Silverado. These also have a -33 offset, which means these are 10 millimeters more offset than this set. So this is gonna look extremely meaty on the truck, but given the size and the offset, this is gonna cause some need for trimming. So hopefully this is as good as you guys imagined. Gloss black on the lip, matte black on the face. This is gonna look phenomenal on the 2020 Trail Boss. So thank you so much for joining me today. This lift was a fun install. This is a great first step if you guys are looking to lift your truck just a bit, but be practical on a daily driving scenario. But we'll see how big of wheels and tires we can fit with just additional 2 inches. We'll see you in a few days for that video. Wish me luck. Until then, as always, y'all take care. Ahui ho. Aloha.
Speed and power.